12 of 9. Who should have seen but a Spanish lady washing her feet by candlelight? For she washed them, then she dried them over a fire of angry coal. And all my life I never saw a maid as neat about the soul.
Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay.
I stopped to look, but the watchman passed, and he said, young fella, now the night is lit. Home with you, or I'll wrestle you straight with through the bridal gate. I threw a kiss to the Spanish lady, hot as the fire of angry coal. And all my life I never saw a maid as neat about the soul.
Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay.
That she's nae mod for a puddle swaddy with her ivory comb and her mantle fine. She'd make a wife for a provost marshal, drunk on brandy and claret wine. I got a look from the Spanish lady, hard cold as the fire of ashy coal. And all my life I never saw a maid as neat about the soul.
Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay.
I've travelled north and I've travelled south by Stony Batter and Patrick's Horse, up and around by the Gloucester Diamond and back by Napper Tandy's house. Old age just laid her hand upon me, cold as the fire of ashy coal, that burns the lovely Spanish lady, neat and sweet about the soul.
Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay. Whack for the tooraloora laddie, whack for the tooraloora lay.
Yep. Do another one, then just start. Pete's going to sing a song.
We were going to introduce the Fureys after that last song, but they're just tuning up the pipes, and being as they're not easy instruments to tune up, we'll give them a little longer. This is a song about a young maid that went to join the army, not as in some songs where she wanted to chase her true love, who had gone and was pressed into the army or something of the sort, or joined the army. Not for that, but just because there were no men left around home, because they'd all joined the army, and she felt it'd be rather more fun if she joined as well. So she dresses up as a man and signs on. And it's all very happy until a young woman falls in love with her, thinking she's a man,
Sing this song.
When I was a young girl, my age was 16, I strayed from my parents and I went to serve the Queen. I listed in the army like another private one, and so very soon they learned me was to beat upon the drum, to beat upon the drum, to beat upon the drum. So very soon they learned me was to beat upon the drum. Now I might have been a sailor and sailed upon the sea, but I became a soldier in foreign lands to be. I put on my uniform, my broadsword in my hand, to hear the great guns rattle and the music sound so grand, and the music sounds so grand, the music sounds so grand, to hear the great guns rattle and the music sounds so grand. Now at night from the barrack room when I went up to bed, in a lane by a soldier's side I never felt afraid, and in taking off my overcoat it oft times made me smile, to think myself a soldier and a maiden all the while, and a maiden all the while, a maiden all the while, to think myself a soldier and a maiden all the while. Now they sent me up to London and there to guard the tower. I might have been a soldier to this very day and hour, but a young girl fell in love with me and I told her I was a maid, and she went and told the officer my secret by trade, my secret by trade, my secret by trade. She went and told the officer my secret by trade. Now my officer, he wrote to me just to know if that was true, with my great gun on my shoulder as I marched the barracks through. My officer, he came up to me, he smiled to me and said, what a pity we should lose you, such a soldier you have made, such a soldier you have made, a soldier you have made. What a pity we should lose you, such a soldier you have made. Well now, goodbye to my officers, you've been very kind to me. Likewise my comrades, and I hope we'll meet again. And if the Queen should be in the want of many more men, then I'll put on the hat and feather and I'll beat the drum again, and I'll beat the drum again, and I'll beat the drum again. Then I'll put on the hat and feather and I'll beat the drum again.
We're going to start off with a tune called The Spanish Cloak, which we sort of made an arrangement of it not so long ago. And it's a tune that was brought to Ireland during the Spanish Armada. There was a lot of people who escaped off it, and ships were blown up out in the middle of the ocean there, but some of the Spaniards came to Kerry. They came to Kerry, and this tune was given to the Irish by these Spaniards who used to dance it and sing it. So we arranged our own arrangement of it. That means the whole of Ireland. And this is the arrangement that we got, so we danced to it too. So I've got something like this.
They do a song called My Shame from the Plains of Kildare, and this song was a hiring song. Hiring was you walk along the road and you go to a fair, and the farmer kind of bid for you, and you kind of worked for so many months. Come on, you work for so many months anyhow. But This is a song that came off to England and I got my hands on it. I don't know how it got there, but someone must have brought it over. That's a chorus. My name is Shame from the plains of Kildare. Farmer I've been until the last year, till I took an ocean of fire for emotion, came over to England the harvest to share. Rum tirra-la-rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la-mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. I paddled with Molly, so blithe and so jolly. I picked up a stick for a staff in me hands, and to keep myself cheery for fear I got weary, I sang Paddy Whack as I went on me way. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la-mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. I landed at Dumbarton on a fine summer's evening, me bundle and staff held them in me hands. There were some of them laughing and some of them chopping, more of them trying to stick Paddy away. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. She said, me young man, now don't look so dull, for I will tell you where you will get lodgings with the woman that lives next door to the Black Bull. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. Went into the woman and asked her for lodgings. She instantly showed me to a bed in the room, and I been so tired and worn out from walking, I let myself down in me bed in the room. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. Was a lump of a tinker lay up in the corner, and he swore upon his soul he'd kill all was there. Says I, me bow tinker, give over your bragging, for I'm Bold McShane from the plains of Kildare. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. But he tried but to hit me a punch in the stomach, I instantly felt him on in the throat, and he tumbled heels over his head in the corner, caught all his head in the now rusty pot. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. He lay on the floor like a sheep, he was bleeding, and he swore upon me soul I'd cut off his life. But I lifted him up and sent down for a flagon, me and the tinker we ended the strife. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee. Oh, me name is McShane from the plains of Kildare. Farmer I've been until the last year, till I took an ocean of fire for emotion, came over to England to harvest the share. Rum-tirra-la, rum-tirra-la-dee, rum-tirra-la, mush-rum-tirra-la-dee.
We'd like to play our starting tune now. This tune is called The Lark in the Morning. It's a jig that we always sort of play. It's been great because the first time we came to Scotland last year, do one for me, will you? First time we came to Scotland, was about 18 months ago now, isn't it?
Well, it must be another, at least.
Yeah, we made it sort of our second home. We were only supposed to come home for a week. So my daddy sent the police looking for us and everything, you know. But he found us sloshed. But this was our first tune, sort of speaking, in any club we ever played in. And it was in the club in Aberdeen. And it was great success, so I'd like to play it for you here. It's called the Lackmore. It's a jig, so you can stop your feet.
A song called This Town, and it's a song about itinerants over in Ireland. Oh, we can understand me that is, you know. It's a song about itinerants over in Ireland, and they fought until they got themselves a place to stay. Dark disease unto our children fair. Come on, not your own. And at the dawning of the day, people come and tell us go away. We don't want your lyings here. You bring dark disease unto the children's fair. Come on, get out. This town's not your own. Some will go to bed tonight without a bite of food or heat or light, because the town is not their own. Face the cruel winter sun. Oh, land of saints and scholars, we have lost our precious gift of charity, and don't recognize our own.
Alright, you're not singing that song anymore. I'd like to do a jig for you now. It's called Tata Jack Welch. And Tata Jack Welch was a bloke who used to go, well, you know, a bloke who was hot.
Roll over that.
Well, a fella who has, you know, hasn't shaved. Or hasn't shaved, kind of wears tattery clothes and things. Well, it was called after Tata Jack Welch was a good musician back in Ireland years ago. And they christened this jig after him. They called it Tata Jack Welch, and it goes like this. Right, I'm going to play it slower now. I'm going to play it slow air that we did on this last LP.
Slow.
That we did in a Solano. But this slow air is called Shleave na Mon, which means Mountain of the Woman, which means Mountain of the Mist, which means how it was written. It was written by these people who lived in this valley during the penal days in Ireland, when there was no such a thing as IRA. There was only the Fenian Brotherhood together. They formed this Fenian Brotherhood. So they were ambushed on the top of this mountain, butchered and slaughtered. So a mist lay over the mountain after they died. And this old woman went up onto the mountain to see could she help any of them. But she couldn't see with this mist, and so it was called. She called the mist the woman, which means the mountain of the woman, or the mountain of the mist. So this is a lament for those who died in sleeping.
They mean.
It's called Grange Flat. Eddie wrote the setting to the bodhran for it. So that's only good to as well and good.
Very much.
By the way, he's given lessons now how to play the bodhran down in Birmingham. It's great to watch them. All these fellas going in with their little bodhrans, you know. They say, no, Eddie, show me how you get that triplet with the back of your hand, you know. And Eddie stands there, all big head. He said, do it this way, son, do it this way.
Good right hand anyway, haven't I?
Yeah.
Do a tune called Graham's Flat.
There's a bloke in Edinburgh, his name is Graham Bell. Well, we wrote this tune after him because he was very good to us.
We'll sing Tramps and Hawkers. We'll sing Tramps and Hawkers in my boss standing at the door. I'll be in everything. If you know any part of it, you know the first verse, the last verse, or any of the intermediate verses, please sort of sing them with me, and because, you know. Anyway. Come all ye tramps and hawkers, ye gatherers of law, that tramps the country run and run, come listen in and all. I'll tell to you a roving tale o' sights that I hae seen, far up into the snowy north and south by Gretna Green. I hae seen the high Ben Nevis, what towering to the moon. I've been by Crieff and Callander and Doon by Bonnie Doon, and by the north every tide and places I'll take yan, far up into the snowy north lies Archer's bonny glen. We'll of times I've laughed and to myself when trudging on the road, with a bag of blow upon my back, my face as brown as a toad, with lumps of cake and tatty scones and cheese and braxy ham, no thinking where I'm coming frae, far less to where I'm gone, but I'm happy in the summertime beneath the clear blue sky, no thinking in the morning, at night where I'm to lie, and barn or byre or ony whore, or in among the hay. And if the weather does permit, I'm happy every day,
But I think I'll gang to Paddy's land, I'm making up my mind. For Scotland's greatly altered now, I canna raise the wind. But I will trust in Providence, if Providence will prove true. And I will sing O Erin's Isle when I come back to you. You probably realised that was a wee bit high. When you tried to sing the chorus, you would have heard it. Oh, come all ye concordant lads, and hey a drap wi' me. Well, hey a drap o' the double strang, for there's plenty on call for thee. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. You'll probably have realised by now that that's just a wee bit low. So we'll take it up just a wee bit, you know. not too much perhaps. No, well, he rode his all grey mare, he rode till the break of day, crying, lassie, lassie, gar yourself, for there's gaugers on the way. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. The gaugers came into the house, they went right up the stair. They went into the feathers room and they found the bottles there. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. They pulled the blankets frae the bed, they trailed them on the floor. Tell Maggie she come running, Benson, you buggers, head for the door. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. The gaugers they hate in the road that leads back to Dunmore. When Sandy says, let's fill the bottles, make a bottle more. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. So Sandy Callum made the lum, he made it stout and long, and it would stand the wear and tear and make the double strang. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. So come all you concordant lads, and come awa wi' me, and we'll awa to Sandy still, and we'll drink the barley bree. Hi-dum-a-doo, hi-dum-a-daddy-o, hi-dum-a-doo, dum-a-daddy-o. Agitators at the front here, don't they? Does it be different if you're getting paid for it? Tonight I am so happy. Tonight I am so gay. My mother's got a roly-poly pudding on the way. I saw her put the currants in, the suet in as well. Now you will be surprised at the story I will tell. I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. Me mother says I must be quick to get me bit. The spotty dick, I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight. Big girlfriend's down for Easter, and she's a lovely girl. Her eyes are like the flashing stars, her teeth just like the pearls. There's only one thing wrong with her, she is so very fat, but
Tonight I'll give her spotty dick. Well, what do you think of that? I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. My mother says I must be quick to get me bit of spotty dick. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight. Her girlfriend, she came down with her, and she's a fat girl too. And everything her girlfriend does, she always does it too. She takes a double helping, she's got such an appetite. But there's plenty spotty dick, and she'll be satisfied tonight. I'm having a bit tonight, I'm having a bit tonight. Me mother says I must be quick to get me bit the spotty dick. I likes me roly-poly, it fills me with delight. I haven't had any since Christmas, but I'm having a bit tonight.
Magnificent. First, Nigel. I'd like to ask up Mr. Nigel Hamill from South Shields to give us a song and maybe a recitation, boy. That's better than a song.
That's very true, James.
Nigel Hamill.
I follow that. Where's he go? A zoological historical song. Being as how the time is right, having us watch the exam tomorrow. It's got a bit of chorus, just a Latin word. Sunday morn, Wolverhampton went a fishing in the weir. He catched a fish upon his hook, he thought was very queer. But what a kind of fish it was, young Lambton couldn't tell. Why, he wouldn't be fetched to carry it yem, so he hid it in the well. You bugger wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell you all an awful story. Wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell you about the war. New Lambton was inclined to gun and fighting foreign wars. He joined a troop of knights that cared for neither wounds nor scars. And off he come to Palestine, where queer things him befell. And he very soon forgot to put the queer worm in the well. You bugger wish, lads, had you gums, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish, lads, had you gums, I'll tell you about the worm. But the worm it growled and growled and growled and growled an awful size. We get big teeth and get big gob and get big gobbly eyes. And when it neat it crawled about, picking up bits and yows. If it felt dry upon the road, it milked a dozen cows. You bugger wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. Top and next. No, done an old furrow. Anyway, what happened? Anybody know the words? Oh well. This fearful worm would often feed on cows and lambs and sheep, and swallow little bairns alive as they lay down to sleep. And when he'd eaten all he could, and he had had his fill, he crawled away and wrapped his tail 10 times round Pincher Hill. You bugger wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. News of this most awful worm, and its queer gannons on, soon crossed the seas and reached the ears of brave and bowed Sir John. So home he came and catched the worm and cut it into halves, and that soon stopped it eating cows and sheep and bairns and calves. You bugger wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wish, lads, had you gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. So now you've heard how all the folks on both sides of the weir lost lots of sheep and lots of sleep and lived in mortal fear. So let's have one for brave Sir John, who saved us all from harm, saved cows and calves by making halves, a famous Lambton worm, you bugger. Wisht lads had your gobs, I'll tell yous all an awful story. Wisht lads had your gobs, I'll tell you about the worm. Well done. Can't think of a resuscitation. No. Joshua again. Oh Jesus. That's right. Well, he has a small biblical tale what has been told many times before here. Many times before. Where you've all heard, or you've read, in the Geet Black Buke, how Moses was found floating down the Nile in the bulrushes by Pharaoh's daughter, and a little wicker work basket had stuttered down the River Nile. Why, that's her story, and by Jove, she's sticking to it. So she comes home and she tells her father, and she says, "Look here, Pharaoh, I found this young bairn floating down the River Nile." Why, he believed her, like, noticing at the same time that she'd lost a hell of a lot of weight over the last time. So anyway, Moses was brought up in the Pharaoh's palace, given the best of everything, sent to public school, university, where they're gone, and he turned out to be a civil engineer eventually. Where he's working down the clots by the Nile, making bricks for Pharaoh, when suddenly one of the guards comes tappy-lappy down the Lunnon and says, "How, Moses? Pharaoh wants a word with you." So he says, "What for?" He says, "Don't know, he wants a word with you." So he heaves himself the clots, you see, goes stopping up the Pharaoh's tent, brays on the door in case he had a bit of business on there. Pharaoh says, "How are you in, Moses? Sit yourself down, have a bottle of brew ale." He says, "It's sad news I've got to tell you, son." He says, "Your lads and the gone slow and that." He says, "I'm not having it." He says, "I want more bricks and less time. We need straw." Moses just about choked on his brew, lad. He says, "Lads will never stand that, man." He says, "What's this for?" He says, "Well, you know, I'll give you the plans for them Geet cubes in the desert." He says, "Well, will you lads go and slow? The bugger's now got points on." He says, "That'll never do." So anyway, goes stutting out the tent, slams the door, you see, down the cloth, sees the lads, and he says, "Right lads, union meeting." So they're all gathered round, you see, being staunch conservatives in those days. And he says, "Pharaoh wants more bricks and less time, we need straw." Christ, the lad says, "Never do." Joshua, he's the lad with the wellies on, you see, he says, "How are you, Moses? Well, they off to the promised land, we can't stand this, man, we get better walk away." And he says, "Fair enough." He says, "Took the very words out of me mouth, will do away the need." He says, "Get all the lasses, and all the bairns, and all the gear on the bogies, tie up the galloways, and we'll do off midnight." So that night, they're all creeping stealthily out of the city walls, you see. There's one of the Pharaoh's guards flicking his embassy tip over the battlement wall. And he sort of says to his mate, he says, "I wish it was Laos, lad, I could do with a pint now." And then all of a sudden, it's a bloody Geet noise, you see. He says, "What's that?" And looks, and there's all the children of Israel dealing away at the promised land. He says, "God, there's all our slave labour doing up. Better go away and tell Pharaoh," you see. He's a bit frightened in case they had to make the bricks. So he goes away and he tells Pharaoh and he says, "The children of Israel's dealing away the need." So Pharaoh leaps out of bed, off with his nightie, on with his armour. He says, "Get the guards out and after them." So they all go stopping off after the children of Israel. Well, meanwhile, back in the desert, the lads is all stopping on, their face slaked with thirst, you see. So
Joshua, he's the one with the wellies on, you know, intelligent lad. Comes up to Moses and he says, "How, Moses? Lads is all clemmed with thirst there. We forgot the barrel of broom we'd saved up for the holidays, man." So he says, "Well, laddie," he says. So Joshua again pipes up and he says, "Why, get away out and have a word with him, you see." Full of all kinds of clever tricks. So Moses climbs up the nearest hill, shouts up, "Are you there?" And the trapdoor opens in the clouds, you see, and says, "What do you want, Moses?" He says, "Why, the lads is all clemmed with thirst here. We haven't got a bottle of broom between us." He says, "What, laddie?" He says, "Well, add a way down, get Obadiah's shot stick and pray on the nearest rock and see what happens. Didn't bother us any more." So he goes away and he gets his shot stick and he brays this rock and it splits open and all the water comes gushing out, you see. And all quenched their thirst and had a grand old time. Fairly clarty, but Joshua was alright because he had his wellies on. They're all bathing around in this smashing water and having a grand old time. And suddenly one of them comes up to Moses and he says, "Look up there on that hill. It's the cream of Pharaoh's army, you see, all stand with their shining armour." Because it was a Sunday, they had to have their best stuff on. And he says, "Well, we're dee." He says, "Oh, forget the bloody bogies. Get on the galloways, they're faster and we'll dee off." So they all jumped on their horses and brain hell out these little galloways. And all of a sudden there comes up the Red Sea. Well, it's fixed now. He says, "What we're going to do this time?" So he says, "Away up and have another word with him, man. See what you can do." So he looks up, "Are you there?" And again this voice comes out, the trapdoor opens. Says, "What do you want now, man?" He says, "Look, we've got this bloody great Red Sea between us and the promised land. What we're going to do?" He says, "Get Obadiah's shot stick again, pray the water, see what happens." He says, "Just go away." So he gets the stick and he brays it on the left side and he brays it on the right side and a bloody good chasm opens and they all went charging off through. Why, Joshua was fine, like, because he had his wellies on again. Great advantage, Dunlop wellies. And they all go toppy-loppy across and they get the other side. And Pharaoh's army's following them, you see. I thought, we're still not there. So he again gets the shot stick and he brays it on the left side and the water comes tumbling in. And he brays it on the right side and it comes tumbling in. And all of Pharaoh's army's drowned except one who's hanging onto a bit plank end, crying for mercy. And just then there's a rumble of thunder and a little head pops out the clouds again and shouts, "Droon, you bugger, droon!"
I'd like to introduce now a very fine fiddler who sort of first appeared at least to us last year at Blair Festival and since has been creating havoc all over the place. John McKinnon.
There's a couple of Scottish tunes. First one is called The Hossie Crumdale. The second one is Flowers of Edinburgh.
Just carry on.
These are a couple of, I think they're Shetland. One's called The Hen's March to the Midden. It's requested by a young lady over there called Kath that has memories of Dave Swarbrick.
That's of the arms jokes,
And in that one you can hear the hens clucking, you know, in the second half. The second tune is the four-poster bed, and you can use your imagination in the second half of that one.
A very swift break, please, for the bar before it closes.
Singing with a band actually sort of constricts you as to the type of stuff you sing. So here's something completely different. that my love walks, and I know the way that my love talks. She talks in 1,000 different ways, makes me think of golden days. Yes, she does. I know the way that my love smiles. Hers is the eye that me beguiles. She smiles in 1,000 different ways, makes me think of golden days. Yes, she does. And I know the way that her mind goes, so mine with hers the closer grows. She thinks in 1,000 different ways, makes me think of golden days. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
Can I sing three?
This song's again a completely different song. You go to school, you grow up. You go to school, you grow up. This is directed towards actually women, and you get married, and you raise kids, and you buy lawnmowers and all that sort of thing. And this is what happens. When one wanders through the darkness and uncharted seas of doubt, and the boundaries of thought are only for today, one sometimes takes to wondering what life is all about. Is it really all the things that we hear our neighbours say? Start at 9 and end at 5 to earn one's daily bread is a canny slot that millions fill each dreary, weary year. Then comes the mail, the settling mail. He wants you in his bed, and he pays for it with wedding bells. His future is quite clear. To do the things one wants to do is often very hard. In the face of massed opinion, they don't really understand. For each hand it is different, each one holds a different card. So when you can get up and move and play life by that game. When time's fast with someone who thinks the same as you, and untied moments give delight, if only for a day. These are the things that matter, the things you want to do, for life is but a stage, and it's you who's going to play. When one wanders through the darkness and uncharted seas of doubt, and the boundaries of thought are only for today. These are the things that matter, the things you want to do, for life is but a stage, and it's you who's going to play. Very simple chorus. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, row the wars out. You gun across the clarty fields to gun down the pit. You tuck your lamp, you're gone. You hate to wait the kist. The deputy says your turn is held, you hate to gang straight on. I says to him, what's wrong with you? And he says, she winna gone on. I got 50 now to a jud. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. For that she was good. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. I went to take it a shaft. The timber she gave a crack. The stain fell on my back. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la, how was it? My name is Jackie Robinson, that name I day advance. I drive a little Galawa, his name is Little Chance. Chance he has 12 greasy legs, likewise a kittley back. And coming down the gunning boards, he mocks the tummins knack. I was coming around the turn, tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Chance he wouldn't head on, tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. The tubs they gave a click. I jumped up at the switch, you bugger, I broke the deputy's kist. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, was it? You ken my brother Bill, his eyes are full of wit. He's got a job of filling down at the dusty pit. When he comes home at night, he's like a drowned rat. Instead of going upstairs to bed, he crawls upon the mat. But he can fill 1,000 or more. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. They pay him by the score. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. He fills his tub so quick, without any delay. But he can never find his pick. Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la, how was it? Me, myself, and mother-in-law went down to the Silvery Sea. My mother-in-law got into a boat for a sailor she would be. She hadn't been but 20 yards when suddenly there's a shoot. My mother-in-law's in the water and I she's flapping about. She says, help, I canna swim.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
I says, now's your turn to learn.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
The wife, she says, you hound, you're not gonna see her drown. I says, no, shut me in.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la, was it?
I can't get, said lassie, and her age was 34. She'd never had a man, so her heart was very sore. The night as she was gone to bed, she thought she heard a sound. She looked underneath the bed, and a burglar there she found, but she didn't scream nor shout.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
Oh, she didn't cry nor faint.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
As soon she made quite sure it's a man, she cried hooray. She went and locked the door.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la, was it?
Ye nicht as I was walking down by the Curran shore, how my old Geordie's doctor, she was standing by her door. She asked me in for a cup of tea, for she was all alone, and the tea she gave to me that night, I would go in there again. Slid my hands along her calves.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
Says you dinna do things with halves.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay.
Well, I kept her company, now she's very good friends with me, and I'm a bugger for tea.
Tiddy-ba-la, tiddy-ba-lay. Tra-la-la-la-la-la, how was it?
Good. Finbar and Eddie Furey. I'd like to apologise to all the singers that are here tonight that we haven't been able to put on in the middle session. I'm sure they'll understand. The Harry Seacom of folk. This is Eddie. Eddie Furey, his brother.
What did he say?
Finbar and Stammer next September is being crowned the Prince of the Pipers. So,
Sure is. I'm your majesty.
so watch it with his
I can't do this in it. Shut up.
The flute. Not his favourite.
We're going to do a song called Lizzie and Lindsay.
That's a song on Joanna and Razor out, will it?
Believe it or not. And the pronunciation in it is absolutely fantastic, you know. This one is terrific.
Oh,
It says, will you gang into the Highlands, Lizzie and Lindsay? Instead of saying it nice and polite, saying, will you come to the Highlands? Lizzie, Lindsay. But we did this in a Scottish nationalist party, you know, one night, and they were all sort of, you know, laughing.
Faint.
They fainted, the best part of them laughing. One of them had to be carried out to the bog and his head was put into it, you know. He got sick laughing, you know. And we didn't
You got sick water afterwards, you know.
We were
The bog didn't flush.
really getting we didn't realise what he was laughing at first, and a fella come up and he says, why don't you say Helands, you know? And we said, we can't say Helands, you know. So it's no use copying, you know, the Scottish accent. And still we say gang, you know. So it goes something like this.
The Highlands with you, sir. I don't think that ever could be, for I know that the land that you come from, or knowing the name you go with. Oh, will you gang to the Highlands, lazy Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Cheating of oil grey. How will you gang to the Highlands, lazy Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Will you gang to the Highlands, lazy Lindsay? Be right and be darling to me. So she's killed in the first of green satin, and she's killed them up around her knee, and she's gone with Lord Ronald MacDonald, his bride and his darling to be. Oh, will you gang to the Highlands, lazy Lindsay? Will you gang to the Highlands with me? Not so long ago, about 8 weeks ago, you know, and I called it Castle Terrace, believe it or not. There's Graham's flat and Castle Terrace. Well, the girls who live in Castle Terrace, you know, have been very good to us this past year.
to bring Father Daly in here someday. Give you some confession. But
Then a friend told me why.
they, you know, we often stay there the night and those parties and terrific. Castle Terrace is well known even in Ireland. And now in the States, believe it or not, in America. So we wrote a jig after this called Castle Terrace, and it goes something like this. By the way, it was requested if I didn't play it, I'd get no chips tonight when I go home. This is a song that we have also written and sort of, well, he wrote the words of it.
Okay.
So, the slow air, which is, we varied it, you know, and we put this sort of traditional setting to it, which when you hear that first you think it's a real traditional sort of song, but it's not. We sort of put it together, you know, and it's called Dance Around,
And
Spin Away.
I better tell the story. The story goes of this hunchback. I mean, he's very much hunched.
It's about this deformed fellow. We used to go to this crossroads. He used to that crack every club we go to, you know. He used to go to this dance, you know, this crossroads dance every week, just for to have a, you know, gaze at, look at this girl. He fell mad in love with her, and he could never dance with her because she was afraid of him, you know. And well, any girl would be, you know, because this bloke was really horrible. So we wrote this song on account of this. So at the end of it, he didn't never get to dance with her, but at the end of it, we say he did, you know, just for they make the song nice.
Well, he dreamed. He dreamed it anyhow. It's a kind of a sad story because he was deformed and yet he had a, you know, he's like anyone else. He just had a good mind, you know.
It's a very beautiful song.
charming one, with your golden, golden slippers on. I'll buy a silk and horns to wear. I'll buy you ribbons for your bonny brown hair. The sun and moon for you I'll steal. If you'll come and dance with me, Kate O'Neill, oh, then dance with me, oh, my charming one, with your golden, golden slippers on. Ah, come dance with me, oh, my charming one, with your golden, golden slippers on. And across and make a ring. All together now let us sing. We're going to dance the fairy ring, and I'm going to dance with Kate O'Neill. Oh, then dance with me, oh, my charming one, with your golden, golden slippers on. Ah, come dance with me, oh, my charming one, with your golden, golden slippers on. This song about it's about this bloke who was on the banks in Australia, and a funny thing happens to him. When I get through them in Holland.
Is there any good Christians in the house?
I was down under that bog and I go to forge them. Anyhow, it's a song about this fella who was in Australia, and he's sitting on this bank. And he's kind of just chewing a straw and sitting down, you know, and now all of a sudden this girl comes in front of him, and she kind of does a striptease artist, and he tells you what happens afterwards.
Nice way to put the straw together.
One fine summer's morn on the Oxford banks, where the maids of Australia they played their wild pranks. As down to that river I sat myself down, and the birds they sang sweetly and played all around on the banks of me native Australia. On the banks of me native Australia, where the maidens are handsome and gay. Oh, you're okay. I was viewing this beautiful scene The birds they did sing and the leaves they were green. A fair pretty damsel before me appeared, and down to the river she quickly drew near. This daughter of native Australia, this daughter of native Australia, where the maidens are handsome and gay.
See the leopard.
Cody best. She stripped, starting naked, and before me she stood, just as naked as Venus that rose with the flood. She blushed with confusion, and to me she did say, now these are the clothes that nature gave me on the day I was born in Australia. On the day I was born in Australia, where the maidens are handsome and gay. At last, she jumped in the water without fear or dread, and her delicate limbs she extended and spread. Her hair it was curly, her colour was black. Now you see now, kind sir, I can float on me back on the streams of the day of Australia, on the streams of the day of Australia, where the maidens are handsome and gay. We tossed and we tumbled with the highest glee, for the fairest Australia the eyes ever see. With the head on her bosom it was to incline, till the stars in the night they came out for to shine, and I left that fair of Australia. And I left at the name of Australia, a bit more wiser than she was.
Great crack altogether. What do we have now? Let's have Way in the Valley, where the cotton blooms are blown.
Well, there was a song called Don't Play Marbles Your Father's Glass, so you need to look for work. It's kind of a...
To finish up, we're going to do a song called I Know Where I'm Going. We're going to plug this song no matter where we go. I better join you too. But I won't play Marbles with you anymore. Anyhow, this song means a desperate lot to us because it really only came to us after Paddy Benner recorded it, you know. It was so nice, you know, the setting. We arranged it for a competition about 2 years ago. We took the girl setting and made it into a man's setting so nobody would think we were queer, you know. So we wrote the setting of it and we played it in the International Folk Award last year, which won us...
Year before last.
Year before last. Sorry about that, Professor. Which won us £175. Which the news come up, you know, this press effort and says, what did you do with the money, Finn, you know? So we said we gave it to charity. So what sort of charity? We said Guinness charity.
It went down well, all right.
Down like a bomb. My daddy was on to us, you know. He says, I didn't know you was drank, you know.
Well, you know now. And let's raise the roof, huh?
Lift it in. I hear the neighbours just complain about the noise around here. So let it.
Thank you very much.
Give us a George Formby
if you want to hear any more of the Finbar and Eddie Fureys, you can hear them, I think, tomorrow night. Tomorrow night on the television, on the Corrie show, where they're actually announced as the fairies, but don't worry about that.
was the BBC that made the slip, you see. Because they don't know them, do they? And we'll see you all, I hope, next week to hear James Imlach.